I started.
Informative speech, Tyler Humann, gun control. There are many issues going on in the world today. One of the most important ones is gun control. I've constantly been hearing about gun control in the news and just talking with people. Gun control has always been a hot subject with the American people in the past and in the present. When our founding fathers drew up the Constitution in 1791, they believed that the right of the people to bear arms was vital to the country's freedom. According to the Cornell Law website, the Second Amendment of the United States Constitution states that a well-regulated militia be necessary to the security of a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. I've always been interested in the issue of gun control. Many countries have regulated the manufacturing, the selling, the buying of guns. Some countries have even tried to go as far as banning firearms completely. Many believe that the gun control goes against their civil rights as stated in the Second Amendment of the Constitution. To further understand the issue of gun control, it is important to know the history of gun control, the arguments for and against gun control, and the impact that gun control has on the people. The first gun control laws in the United States was about 46 years after the Second Amendment was passed in the Bill of Rights in 1791. In 1837, Georgia banned the use of handguns. And the law was later struck down 8 years later by the Georgia Supreme Court, stating that it went against the Second Amendment of the Constitution. With the invention of the machine gun in the early 1920s and the 1930s, people felt that these guns needed to be regulated. So they passed the first federal Gun Control Act and the National Firearm Acts of 1934 and 1938. These laws regulated the use of machine guns. They imposed taxes on the manufacturing and the sales of machine guns, and it did not allow people with violent criminal conviction to own and operate these machine guns. Next, after the shooting death of President John F. Kennedy in the early 1960s, the Gun Control Act of 1968 was passed. Its main points still prohibit convicted felons, drug users, After these two were shot, people felt that gun control, again, we needed more laws to help control the gun violence. So they worked to pass the Brady Bill, which was passed in 1993, 12 years after the shooting. It imposed a waiting period to buy handguns and required buyers to undergo background checks. Some specifics of each requirement have since changed. The Violent Crime Control and Law Enforcement Act of 1841. This is commonly known as the assault weapons ban, which was during the Bush administration when it ended. The ban banned the certain classes of semi-automatic guns and large capacity magazines. This law expired 10 years later in 2004. There are many arguments for and against gun control. Some of the arguments against gun control are that the laws violate the Second Amendment of the Constitution. They also say that guns don't kill people, people kill people, which means that the gun is only as dangerous as the person operating the gun. And that these laws do not stop criminals, because criminals are going to break the laws anyways, because they're criminals, it's what they do. And that these laws harms the citizens obeying the laws, that it makes it harder for people to buy guns as they have to go through a waiting period of background check to get their guns. And they also say that the gun control laws, they just don't work. There are many arguments for gun control also. They say that these laws make the country safer, and that with less guns on the street, less people will be harmed. They say it also drops the suicide rate, where people cannot kill themselves with guns, and they believe that the crime rate will drop significantly. The gun control laws also have great impact on the people, for good or bad. They impact the people who obey the law the most, making it harder for them to buy guns. They don't affect criminals. Some studies show that the homicide and suicide rate have dropped with certain gun laws, and other studies show that the laws don't have any effect on the murders or suicide. Citizens believe that the government will continue to try to take away their civil rights as they are trying to take away their right to bear arms. Gun control laws have been happening since the start of the United States and will continue to happen. They say that it violates the Second Amendment to the Constitution, while they say it makes the country a safe place to live in. Well, they say that it doesn't impact the people who obey the laws and that the criminals will still get their guns. Whether gun control is good or bad, as long as we have guns, people will always be trying to control the manufacturing, the buying, and the selling of these guns.